Hello, hello, my friend.
Hi, Cassandra. How you
How you
doing?
doing?
Today
You know what I
is
was saying.
is a Friday. It is one of those days, multitasking.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's the children are out of school this week. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
been it's been a lot. How are
I'm with
you?
you on that. Same. It's a lot. We are thinking about a lot of things at once. We have a lot of things we need to do ourselves. We need to account for on top of the other
Yes.
things. And I'm just trying to invite nimbleness, uh, agility, like just bend with where you have to be. Don't be rigid. It's gonna ruffle the feathers. You don't wanna be up and nobody's cold,
You reminded
but
me
you
of
have
this guy when in from college, this alpha. I forgot his name, but he'd be like, "Yeah, you gotta be agile like a mongoose." I'm like,
girl,
"What?" That was
that
his
one is
line. Agile like a mongoose. I'm like, "What is a mongoose?" But okay.
that's it though, because life is gonna throw curveballs. The day's not gonna go exactly as planned. Good news will come, right? And then you're like, "Wait, now I need to be prepared," right?
Right.
Like you're dealing with today. So, I'm just trying to own in on that right now, but that's not what we're here for. Actually, we'll send me talk about it on this episode today. So we will be talking about living our lives in survivorship and work life balance, counterbalance, however, work life with work. I'll call it that.
I like that. I think I prefer that because I don't know if there's ever a work-life balance, and if whoever has achieved it, I really need to hear from them because
Period.
it feels like every day is a juggling act. Some days are better than others, which
Yeah.
I'm thankful for, but then you have those other days when it's like everything is coming at you at the same time, and you're trying to keep all the balls in the air without dropping one, you know?
And really to that point is like, what ball is going to have to drop? You know what I mean? Because I know one of them is going to have to.
Mhm.
So let's start with this because I'm thinking about not just us having this conversation, but the people that might listen to it. With you right now, what is the biggest or what was the biggest transition in well, actually our experiences are different, right? Walk the listener through what your experience was like navigating treatment while juggling, managing work.
Yeah. So for me, I I teach. I teach in at the time I was teaching, I should say. I was teaching in academia, and I was teaching one class that semester, but when I was diagnosed and began chemo, I actually worked during chemo because my schedule allowed for it. I it was the class only meant once a week. The assignments weren't too bad. And although I knew that I was going through something like so serious as chemo and cancer, I didn't necessarily want to like throw off my students' lives. I don't know if that's weird to
But I love
say.
that. You need to hone in on that. Just let's stop right there, right? Because you're going through a whole loophole and you're like, hold on, the students,
Yeah, which is, I'm just
right?
like, why? Why did I do that? But
Hmm.
is that admirable or is that should I have just, like, chilled, you know? Like, "All right, this is enough of others. This is" if there's any time as ever to shut down or to take some me time, it would have been that time, but I don't know, I just felt, it was 2021, we were still coming through COVID. I just felt like
That's a
it
good,
was important to
okay.
just keep a little sense of normalcy but then also, as I mentioned, just wanting to not have them needing to find a new instructor, having to go
Yeah.
through the delays of all of that. And I don't know, maybe that's just me at heart, not wanting to inconvenience people, if that's the word, which sounds
I think it's a part of a lot of us, our DNA, how we're wired, especially maybe as Black women.
Mhm.
I think we are, I don't want to say we put pressure or if it's a condition, right? Where we're like grounding, normalcy, stability. I think we'd rather accommodate. others. We often bend to accommodate others, I think, very often. But to your point, there might be some value add in that, right? And trying to say, maybe if I don't treat myself as quote unquote ill, right, that I won't sit in that headspace or energy too long. So I could see both sides of it, right?
Mhm.
And especially because going through treatment, you don't know, you start in one position and then it progresses, right? So I completely understand the wanting to just start and just roll with it, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm. And I guess maybe I was a bit naive too, feeling
Yeah.
like I can handle it, which I mean, I did. I ended up, I finished the semester and all of that. But
Yeah.
mm, I think at the time, because it was COVID and everything was remote and hybrid, I felt like I could still present myself in a way that I didn't look sick to the students. I can
Yeah.
still wear a head wrap or do my makeup or something like that. So I didn't have to like have the physical exertion of driving into campus, showing up in person, standing during a lecture, doing all that stuff. So I felt like it was a bit more doable in that
Yeah.
sense. And compared to other people who work during chemo, I felt like
Yeah.
this field that I was in allowed me a little bit more flexibility
Mhm.
in in doing both, especially since the course was just like once a week, and most of my slides I could take my time during the week preparing it and things like that.
Mhm.
So,
It makes sense that you would have said, "You know what? This is what I'm handed. It's not as demanding. I don't have to physically interact with people. Um, let me see what I can manage. Let me just work through this."
right.
Yeah,
When the
so yep.
when the spring semester came though, I did take a leave because I would be doing my surgery, and then I was like, okay, I did enough.
You
So
served your
Yeah, yeah. And so I did take that semester off, which, was a good thing because at
Yeah,
that point I was tired. It was a lot. Yeah. So that was
yeah.
what I did. And I think it's interesting now being a few years out of it,
Mhm.
working and reintegrating back into like what my normal work schedule is. It's I do still think it's different because at the time, although I was in chemo and all of that, there was it seems like I felt like it was more support during that time too
Yeah.
flexible. Like my mom was here to help with the boys.
That's a good point there.
Yeah, Frank was off from work at that time, so it was more hands available to make it possible to manage both and not feel overwhelmed. But now
Right.
since, going back to work, we've all assumed our normal routine,
Yep.
it's now on us as like the primary parents to reestablish those expectations and relationships and responsibilities that was, let's say, I could push off to like my mom or
Yeah.
my friend or somebody, who was there to kind of help and provide support in that season.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So, right. So the way I'm assessing the situation was, you know what? No need to take myself out of the game. I have the support that I need. It's not as
Mhm.
demanding. Let me see how I manage. And ultimately, right time showed itself. You were able to manage.
Right.
Okay. All
Right.
right. That that jives with it. So I had a different experience in that from the beginning, I was like, nope, let's not even try it. Um,
Well, what type
I
of
was
work were you in that made
yeah.
you from the beginning know, "No, this isn't happening?"
So in my position, it is product manager in marketing, corporate.
Okay.
So it is that translates, at least for me, it is hybrid often, but I could be at home, I could be traveling outside of the state, or I could be in the office. Those are the three situations. And it is highly interactive, super demanding. Your response is required all the time. You're on. It's not. It's balancing responsiveness through the day while managing strategic high level projects. And for me, I said Nah, I can possibly be managing traveling while undergoing this level of treatment, and not even knowing what it might have been, right? I wasn't necessarily anticipating it being hard. That time shows and time and cumulative, dose showed itself to be harder in some moments and maybe lighter in some moments. But I said, functionally speaking, I don't want to have to anticipate having to uh, feel that demand in the rear view mirror. So it's best that I just release that so that I optimize in my head the space for my body to heal without having to explain my time to anyone.
You know,
Um,
I think that's so interesting what you said, needing to always be available, like that responsiveness. You don't realize how much stress that adds to constantly needing your phone next to you to check an email. Did you miss something? You know?
yeah, yeah,
And it's like a weight that you carry if you're in that type of a profession,
yeah,
always needing to know, is somebody looking for me? Did somebody
that's
requesting
it.
something from me that I need to respond to, that I need to deliver within a timely
Correct.
time point, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
that would have been such a, like, I don't know how you would have be able to relax, you know, take the time for yourself when you're
Yeah,
trying
no,
to also be on for others. How could you be on for yourself, you know?
exactly, exactly. I think ultimately, even now that time has transpired, although right now I am dealing with essentially feeling new to my job again, and there's the little birdie in my head that's like, "Oh, your teammates are ahead of you. Everyone is ahead of you because it's been a year and change, and they've done a lot of learning and they've been exposed, and you are literally feeling like you're starting back from scratch." So I am dealing with the side effect of just being absent, but I still look at it as this was the best decision I could have made. Now, there are some things that I filled that time with things. So even though you drop something like work out of the table, Cassandra is too good at replacing other stress with other stresses. So, girl, I recognize that act in the effort of saying, okay, I'm going to communicate to my manager who must communicate to HR that I will not be here. And me not even knowing how long the time would have been, there's a lot of paperwork juggling that you're doing, managing all of the physicians that you're working with, making sure that they're communicating, you're getting the paperwork, you're sending that to HR, you're sending that to your disability department and any other departments and or constituents that might be involved. That's involved. So I was thinking it's kind of like maternity leave when people are like, "Did you enjoy the time off?" No. Ain't nobody having time off.
There is no
Just feel
rest with the
that
new
there's
baby.
no
There's no
rest.
rest with chemo.
Exactly, right? So, I found that there was still a lot of logistics to handle, and it was more than I was anticipating. I wanted to be off. Similarly to you, had some support from parent, sister, mother-in-law, because again, not a lot of people knew, and then sprinkles of time when people would just bring me things like a jug of water, which was super important, especially I was going through this stuff in a very cold season. So I say all this to say I will not I think I made a good decision paying for the side effects of it, but still feel good that I made it. Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, you said a lot. And one of the things that stood out to me is this feeling of feeling behind once you're
Mhm.
back in the workplace, even for however long or that time frame away was 3 months, 6 months, a year, who knows? I feel like each of that comes with its own reintegration process that you have to
Yeah.
reacclimate yourself because the workforce changes so quickly. You know, there's new
Yes.
policies, there's new people hired, you know, there's just different, it's all dynamic.
That's it.
And that's one of the things too that I had to deal with in going back to work was feeling, so with the academia, with a tenure track, you always have to publish, you always have to write, you have to, that is a currency, right? And
Yeah.
so I wasn't doing that, you know, and then so when going back into to work full time, which I
Mhm.
did literally the weekend after finishing chemo, that Monday I was back. I started a new position.
You did the same thing with your wedding that you did.
Oh my gosh, I did. I totally forgot that. I need to stop. Yeah. Like, why?
It's gonna be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that mentality, it's, "Hey, I need to, do what needs to be
It's the
done to."
Jamaican in you. It's the Jamaican in you. Like, y'all don't be sometime, y'all be having multiple jobs. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah, it's fine. And then so needing to having that, like, added mindset, like, "Okay, I need to catch up to my peers. I need to I've been away. I need to figure out what's the quickest, most efficient way to get myself up to speed where I can start again to write, to think, to publish, to apply for these grants, to do all these
Yeah.
heavy lifts that are cognitively heavy,
Mhm.
and thinking that I can just go back to how things were prior to chemo and all these other experiences.
Yeah.
And that really took a toll on me.
Mm.
I
When did you realize it? When did you say, "Hold up, this is feeling this"?
I think it happened to me slowly over time, even probably like a year or so, because the first thing I had to realize was recognizing what the symptoms of fatigue and stuff was for me. Because I was just used to going. And if you're
Yeah.
tired, it's okay. Everybody's tired. Keep going. And I had to realize that after going back to work, there was a time in the day when I had to go to lay down. I had to go to bed. Like that was at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I realized I was getting very irritable. I was feeling pressure, feeling like the weight of, oh, it's 6 o'clock. It's time for dinner to feed the children. Like I have to make dinner, cook, and do all this stuff. But then also, usually I'm like a night owl too. So I'm used to staying up late to write, to work, and to do things while the house is quiet. So realizing that I couldn't do that anymore. And then now, since I couldn't necessarily stay up late to work as frequently as I used to, then trying to figure out, okay, do I then wake up early? Am I now a morning person? Do I automatically become a morning person because I can't stay
Yeah.
up late like I used to anymore?
Yes.
Like how do
Oh,
I do that?
yeah.
And I'm still not a morning person. So that didn't fix that. So, but then, like, yeah, so it was over the months of trying to be who I used to be, do what I used
Yeah.
to do, slowly realizing, like, man, like, I can't, it takes me longer to write. It takes me, in general, it takes longer to write. It takes long to create organized outlines, paragraphs, turn them into manuscripts and publishable quality and all of that stuff. And now it was even more. So realizing that what used to maybe take me 3 months to do is now maybe going to take me six, and having to internally be okay with that. But then also wrestling with the metrics in my head that's saying, no, I need deliverables by this time point.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm still working through this. That's something that hasn't gone away. And I've had to realize that it's not like, I may never go back to what I was before, but how
Yeah.
can I still be effective in who I am now? And I think I've said this before, like, I was talking to my mentor about this because one day I was just, like, crying, and I was like, "I can't do this. Something is wrong with my brain." And then she was like, "You're fine. You'll be alright?" She
Yeah.
was like, "You just have to figure out how this new brain works now?"
Right. Oh my god. I think hearing your lived experience and you just having more time in in this than so I guess I'm giving this as timestamp so people will have known when this episode comes out. But nonetheless, I've been at work, call it 5, 6 weeks, and I've been part-time. So the agreement thankfully was made. So thankful that, HR services said, "Okay, this is what we'll do for you." And even number 1, even though the time is restricted, I find myself trying to work past, like, additional hours, just to play catch up, whatever that is. And similarly to you, girl, it's a roller coaster. There's a little bit of, no, I don't think I'm not as, whatever the word we want to use it, right? Efficient as I used to be. I think this is just new, right? This is just new. That at least that's the phase I'm in right now. And I look to the left, I look to the right of me, my other teammates, and I'm like, that email just got sent out at 11 a.m. Why is someone responding to it at 11:05? As if they were just waiting for it to come in. And they're also pinging me on Teams, and they're also making calls. How are you juggling 3, 4 platforms and responding while being in a meeting? So is it that you understand the material already, right? So you don't have to pay attention? Because, right, when something is a little bit more understood, your brain is putting less energy into it. So I've been on an emotional roller coaster without being long about this. It's a little bit of, no, it's new. Give yourself time. That's the one part. Then the other part is, "Ooh, shouldn't you know this already? Like, aren't you familiar with this stuff?" Third part of it is comparing to my teammates. It's not like I'm working in siloed, that I'm the sole person. I work with other people and they are fast, they're responsive, they have ideas. And I feel like my ideas fall flat and or they're not relevant. They're like, not sure if Cass understands. And I'm in a position where I have to lead while I'm learning.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. There's moments where I can feel the frog in my throat where I'm just like, ugh, never mind just being me, right? Head wrap, black girl, mom with the young children. I can't think of many of people in my organization that have those same things on top of navigating life after this. So I'm, and maybe we need to talk about this. Like, I'm really in a space where I don't want to victimize myself. Like, yeah, I need some babying or some carrying while I go through this. But the balance of rigor and grace is hard for me. It's hard for anyone who wants to do their job well. I was asking myself, like, why do you want to go back to work? It's not like when I'm working on a shiny, right? It's not the most glamorous thing, but I recognize that I want to contribute and I want to do a good job, independent of my circumstances. So the headspace that I've been in right now, friend, is this work still for you? And if it's not, what indicator will you have to move on or keep going? So I'm just asking for discernment in this time. If I need to cry, cry it out. Learning is awkward at times. It's weird. You're trying it's choppy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to make room for. Last part of that though is the side effect of what my family's feeling. I'm moody. Even for us to just record today, I was like, everybody out of my way. I'm moving the kids. I have a 3-year-old. I'm like, crap, does her diaper need changing? Does she need to? And I'm like, my husband's like, trying to take a shower. I'm like, I need to go take a shower. I need time. I need to go. You knew I had to go, right? So I am short
Yeah.
and irritable when things get in my way. That's all I got right now. That's how it is going. That's how it's going.
And
So,
I think
yeah, go ahead.
that that's even outside of this experience of the context of having it, of managing these dual roles, it reminds me of Dr. Cheryl Giscombe that I was telling you about, the
Yeah,
Superwoman Schema, you
yeah,
know? And I think it's so fitting because even outside of being a cancer survivor, but in general, life demands in general causes these competing demands and just responsibilities and roles. And as you mentioned, showing up, but how are you showing up and feeling like you're fully there and equipped to succeed or to contribute value to whatever role that you're in? So let me read about the Superwoman schema.
yeah,
So it's a psychological construct that describes the pressures women face to excel in various roles, including professional, familial, and social responsibilities. The schema often leads to chronic stress and adverse mental health outcomes such as anxiety and burnout. And it is shaped by societal and cultural expectations, compelling women to strive for perfection across multiple domains of their lives. And I feel what I just said and what you just said is
yeah.
basically this in real life, you know?
You know what's so funny? It's like to read that out loud, right? We fundamentally understand what that is. And even when we read it, we feel the squirmish. We're like, yes, yes.
It's
And the situations actually show themselves. And I'm like, how are we taking that? Understanding allostatic load, understanding that our body does not need any more cortisol flying through the roof as it tries to mend itself. And this is not
exactly.
just from what we've experienced, but just daily, right? When we go to
Mhm.
sleep, our body is restoring itself. Do you have any advice on how you approach that better? How do you do that better? Today we're sitting right in the space of something came up for you that you didn't know was going to come up. You're making time for it, right? But you're having to isolate time for us to do this session today. How do you invite ease when you're managing multiple things?
That's a great question. I think it is something is still in progress for me that I probably haven't figured out how to be consistent in allocating that space and time for myself outside of all the different responsibilities or things you have to do in the day. But I think it could start by quiet time, maybe wake I'm gonna say devoting a certain period of time during the day as just a timeout, a time for self-reflection, a time for meditation on words, thoughts, scripture that is healing, that is rejuvenating to my spirit, and then from the spirit to the body, I think practicing that and being consistent with it could be a first step for me because it's something that I do it, but I'm not consistent with it, but I know that when I do it, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so I say that I need to do it more, but that more part gets lost for me sometimes during the week. Often, not even sometimes, they get lost a lot.
Every day, all the time.
But realize, okay, put the phone down, put the computer away, just sit. And I also think that my husband has does a great job in doing this for himself. And even when I don't even know he's doing it, but he's doing it because we were out to breakfast this week with the boys since they're on break, and he was like, "Yeah, sometimes I take myself out to breakfast, and it just lets me sit and get my head together, and then when I leave, I go start my day." And I'm just like, "That's nice. That must be real
It's
nice.
like you live with this whole man and you're like, "Oh, you're doing that, huh?"
I didn't know that?"
Yes, yes.
And he's always telling me to do that or to like leave the house
Mhm.
because I work from home most days. But in
Yeah.
my mind, it's like I can't leave. I can't go because I need somebody's probably checking,
Time.
looking for me, or the
Yeah.
time it takes me to go do this, 10
Yeah.
emails probably came in by the time I'm coming back. So
Right.
I can definitely learn this from him and in in how you start your day. And I was listening to Priscilla Shire, and she was talking about that as well, like how you start your day. And she was saying, like, before her feet touches the ground, like she takes time to connect with herself, or like how is she
Mhm.
feeling? Connect with God,
Mhm.
and even if it's just time for a short prayer to yourself, and talking to God, commanding the day in a sense, like what do you want to go through this day being or go through this day
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
and declaring it for yourself, declaring that in the day. And then when
Yeah.
your feet touch the ground, it's like, all right, you know,
Yeah.
let's go. But taking
Let's
that time
go.
before waking up and then getting up with your feet
Yeah.
to let that be the time where you kind of ground yourself in the word or in whatever that centers you in. So, yeah, that could be a
It's
one way to start.
what you're saying, like, I felt it, like, in my whole body, like, it was very visceral, and that, like, even the act of you just stating, like, "Wake up," whatever is ahead of you, right? You are safe. You are waking up from rest. I think biologically, our bodies actually have the highest cortisol levels in the morning. I know I read that somewhere. And rather than saying, "Crap, what do I need to do? Who needs my help?" Where's my phone? Do I need to answer an email before I get up? Like, how to almost help tame the fire
Mm.
by catching your breath, meditating, prayer. I can't tell you how all of us need that right now more than ever, and how we let the noise of being behind. Think about the reasons why you feel like you need to be urgent. You just stated something so clear, which is, oh, if I step out of the house, value add, right? Getting yourself together, getting some fresh air, changing of space, value add. If I do that, I will lose time in commute. What am I going to eat? What if I need, maybe I could do a load of laundry, right? So you're trying to do one singular thing, right?
Yeah.
Like the yin and the yang of that. Well, I'm right there with you. And that I sit there and I'm like, do I really need to go into the office? But maybe going to the office gives you that undivided attention so you're not feeling all of the tabs open up for you.
Mm.
Maybe taking that 5 minutes. So I'm going to be very honest with the listener, and I really don't want to be, but I'm revealing myself. When I wake up in the morning, too often I state what's missing, what's wrong, what is off balance. Like, first thing, it takes an act of energy for me to say good morning to my husband and leave it at that. Don't ask him to do anything. Don't ask even of yourself to do anything. I'll relate. I really want to work on my language because, to your point, it's like you already got a lot to do and you know it. Even
Mm.
on your days off, you could fill it up. But I'm not taking that quiet time. I'm not. I know I'm not. I am filling up my brain with things that it really does not need. Instead of honoring yourself and saying thank you, I'm picking at the things that are imperfect. It's easier for me to do it, like even us in the act of speaking right now, it's easier for me to do it here than to do it while you're in the act of stress, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And it brought me back to that, I don't know, something I heard before about gratitude and anxiety can't coexist, you know? And so maybe we're giving anxiety, worry, stress too much space in our minds and our bodies. Where if we replace that with a sense of gratitude, say as we wake up, Lord, I thank you for waking me up. I thank you for the breath of life in my body. I
Hmm.
thank you that I'm healthy. I thank you that I'm healed. I thank you for my husband, for our children, for our life. That
That should come
could
to the
be it.
service. Yeah.
Yes. That
Yeah.
could and should be this way to start the day
Yeah.
in that space of gratitude.
No, 100% agree. So, how do you make it a non negotiable? Now, full disclosure, we are working moms. Those two words together, chopped and screwed. Some days you surprise yourself, right? Where you're like, wow, I did that. And some days you get to 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you're like, nobody talk to me right now. Not another stimuli, not another input. What are we ordering? Right? It's one of those chopped up days. But I really want to be in the act of, you're not going to work with the bonnet on, right? That's like not it's not a negotiable,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah. You know you have to brush your teeth in the morning. You have to
Exactly.
shower.
Exactly. Exactly. These are the things that we do. How do we make these practices non-negotiable? Especially in an age where you have access into information, especially when you're trying to stay ahead. And I can't do KO's work, right? Frank could try and pick up all of the things for you, the kids, the house stuff, but there's still things that KO wants to do for herself and the people around her that he can't do for you. So we all got the same 24 hours though. So shifting here is like, how are you creating boundaries, time to do that? What does that look like for you? Are you meditating and praying, laying down in your bed? Or do you feel like the act of sitting up and isolating yourself from maybe your husband, your children?
You know,
How does it work for you?
I used to so Frank for one Christmas, he got me a gift to work with a like a coach, a self-help coach. And one of the things I learned from that is even in trying to relax, I could be like an overachiever with that too. I'm gonna run,
This is why we're vibing. This is why.
I'm gonna exercise, you know, every day. I'm gonna make a smoothie every day. I'm gonna do the quiet time. But it's all of that is stuff to do. Like it's added things to the
Yeah.
checklist for the day. And
Yeah.
so I've realized that picking one thing to focus on for maybe the day, the week, the month, and trying to be consistent in that one thing first
Mhm.
before and I think it's just in habit building, trying to be consistent in that one habit first before it becomes a core part of me of you is the
Atomic
way
Habits
to
is actually
yeah, I was just
in
gonna
my
say
list of
atomic habits,
reads.
talk about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I think that is for me is probably the most feasible approach is because I don't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
relaxed shouldn't be stressful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't be
150%.
worried because I didn't
Yeah.
make a smoothie today. I didn't eat a vegetable or something today,
Right, right, right.
So I think choosing that one habit and then trying to be consistent in it. And even if
Yeah.
it's every day, it's not I don't do it, but if it's done 3, 4 times out of the week, at least for me, that would be a success.
So, shifting gears here, what again, it doesn't need to be this competition with self in trying to balance, right?
Yeah.
Being a working professional, being a mother, being a wife, and all the things, right? We still have moms and parents who need things from us too. If you had to tell yourself, how do I do this better today? I never like to go with the month because you don't know what's ahead. The demands of today will look different from the demands of any shifting other time. Do you currently have things that have fallen by the wayside? Is basically what I'm trying to say because of the things that you're managing. So, to take a step back, now that I work blank, right? Because I am a mom and my job requires this, I am not doing this. And are you okay with it? Right?
Yeah,
So,
I think that's a good question. For me, one thing I've since becoming since moving to Boston, what has been a challenge to me is to, like, consistently, like, exercise. I used to run when I was in North Carolina. I was part of a running group, and then since coming here, I just couldn't find that same
mhm,
group-wise. So for me, that's probably the most visual thing that I've realized. I've go
tabled.
it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Some weeks I'm really good with it, and other weeks I miss, which turns into 1, 2, 3 weeks, and then I'm just like, "Man, I haven't worked out in, like, a month." So,
Yeah.
I have been trying to, figure out what does that look like for me now? So, I wake up, like, some days I do, like, a 30-minute not hit, I like a bu dumbbell, workout in the house and involve the boys too, which I like
Mhm.
that, and they like that too. And then I've been thinking about, do I need, like, a gym membership? But I've never really been, like, a gym person, so it's like, I don't know how to use the machines. Like, all that stuff, it seems
Yeah.
intimidating to me. So I'm just like, "Well, maybe that could be a place to go and to, like as a way to get out the house." But then also thinking about other, like Frank is always telling me, like, maybe try, like, these classes or something, these group workout classes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would start but then, let's say, the classes I was going to was 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, so it would require me to get up by 4, to leave by 4:30, to get there by 5, so I think I did that for maybe 3 months, but then I ended up hurting my knee, re-injuring my knee, and
Mm,
then I just never went back. So,
mm,
like, figuring out, like, what day during the week can I consistently do this one thing is once is what I kinda need to answer for myself, and maybe it varies per day,
yeah.
Maybe it requires me getting up, again, like, at 5 or something to leave the house to do that.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's late at night, on some days or in the evenings before, you know, certain things. So, yeah, it's just been a challenge because we moved here, it was just us, and so not having, like, my mom close or someone
Yeah.
has been challenging because the other aspect of it is too, like, we never wanna, like, leave her children to other people. We always want, like, one
Yeah.
of us to be with them too. So that comes
Mhm,
becomes
girl.
challenging when you want to both do things maybe at the same time or have responsibilities that require one person to be gone at a certain time. So, yes, but I think it's part of the life. Just figuring that part out would be good.
Yeah. So you mentioned that exercise, right, has been something that has sort of been, I don't wanna say tabled, but it ebbs and flows. It comes in, it comes out, it's
Yeah.
stagnant. For me, it is looking ahead slash socializing.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is because work has now picked up, I've closed like my social tab. Like I'm not, we're in a book club together. Girl, I'm only on page 30. Okay.
I
I'm
haven't even
embarrassed.
started.
You saw me going off. I was like, Screw this. I need to mute the conversation. You're giving away the book."
I haven't even
And I was
started
like,
the book. It's okay.
well, never mind the cognitive function, right? So I know this of myself. I'm probably reading at a slower pace than everybody else, but I feel like because of work and taking care of my children, I tend to table my social
Yeah.
self, right? So I'm like, I'm not asking my friends, "Hey, how's it going?" Or "Are we grabbing coffee?" Or even checking with my mom, like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm not even emotionally available sometimes to even my husband, where I'm just like, "Okay, what do we need to do?" It's always need before, like, wants, right? So we wanna
Yeah.
figure out what does the next couple of months look like? Do we wanna do something this summer with the kids? Are we going to that wedding? Hi, Adrian. Are we are we when are we gonna put the deposit down? Like, all of that stuff goes away because I feel like I can't see ahead. I'm dealing with what's right in front of me.
Yes. Oh, man. That is so spot on. Yeah.
So, how do I get better at saying, "My son has a birthday in April. My daughter has a birthday in May." How do you plan for that so you're not trying to figure it out when it's a week and a half before? Or what is the thing that you wanna catch up on? Eh, let it not be work.
Something
You know
for
what I mean?
you.
Right? Don't always handle the necessity because work is always going to be the thing that you can always work on. How are you working on your family dynamics, being a mom, being a wife?
Mhm.
Girl, that has fallen by the wayside in these past 5 weeks. Like, to the point where my sister was like, "You good?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." Or I'll go to bed, I won't say goodnight, I just go because I'm tired and my battery just I bathed the children, I bathed a child, you got the other one, good night. Is all I got.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
working on being present outside of the necessities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I struggle with that too. And it's the enjoyment aspect of life?
You know, we ask ourselves both the same question, like, "What brings you joy?"
Mhm.
And I think this is probably why we connect on a lot of things. We're doing what we have to do
Instead of what
all
we
the
want
time.
to do. Yeah.
What do you wanna do? You know?
Do you even have an answer to the question?
Do I even have an answer?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
is it and am is the answer that I'm providing someone else's? So, like, got a birthday coming up, my husband's like, "What do you wanna do?" And I'm like, "Oh, maybe I could go see a Broadway play." And I'm like, "Do you wanna see a Broadway play? Like, are you into Broadway shows? Or is that just an item to check off your list?" Like, girl, or should you just go lay yourself in a spa for 5 hours and
mhm.
reflect and, like, it's identifying the things that I enjoy. Work in progress, girl. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think I definitely resonate with that, with your response. It's like finding a way to be better at planning for joy. Is that a thing? Is that a
Yeah.
statement?
It's a
Putting
whole
putting
thing.
it on your calendar, you
Yeah.
know? Which kind of makes you realize, like, how busy society has become when you have to plan for these escapes or these experiences of joy, of
Right.
quietness, of peace? And I was listening to something, I think it was on social media or something, and it was asking the question, if you went to the mail and found a check for $5 million, what would be people would ask, what's the first thing you would do? But he asked, what's the first thing you would stop doing? And letting that answer lead you to dream about what ifs, spending time dreaming about, like, what is your dream? What would you do if you didn't have to do this thing that you are
This work,
currently
this
doing,
stuff.
this work?
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So maybe we could leave it there and ask
Yeah.
ourselves that question. And you too, the audience,
Yeah.
what is that thing you would stop doing if you had a chance to do, and then what would replace it?
Marinate on that, and we'll probably answer it in
Yeah.
our next session. Okay. So we're wrapping up here. Long story short, we're figuring it out. It doesn't look linear for any person. We are not one to ask for help, but maybe there are some pockets where we can do that. And give yourself a break. You don't have to be on all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have to be a superwoman in every aspect of life.
Okay.
All
Any
right.
last things? Last thoughts?
Now that's it. Thanks for listening, y'all. Hope you resonated with some of the things that we talked about, and take some time to ruminate on that question for yourselves. What would you stop doing if you could, and what would you replace that time with? And maybe that will lead you on your way of finding out what joy looks like for you.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Peace.